Welcome to the Unfiltered Social Worker. Hi, and welcome back to the Unfiltered Social Worker. I am S. Sinise. Thank you for coming back to my channel. I am so happy that you're here. So, this is episode 2 of my life as a social worker. Where do I begin? Well, obviously, let's start from the beginning. How did I become a social worker? I'm going to try to make sure that this is not too long for you all, but I am very candid about my experience because I do believe that my experience can definitely encourage the next person. So I became a social worker by accident. Yeah, that kind of sounds strange, but I did become a social worker after doing some brief research. I aspired to be somewhere in the field of psychology. I hoped to become a school psychologist. And once I go back in my mind, I really try to figure out how I even came up with that. But my undergraduate degree from the wonderful Tougaloo College is in psychology. And I definitely have a passion for mental health. Definitely love the mind, the brain, how it operates, how it works. Well, upon my graduation, I decided to pursue graduate school to work on my master's in school psychology, but I never could get into this particular program, which will go unnamed. um, I actually started working at a residential facility for which I gained a great deal of experience through the start of my career in mental health. One workday, I ran into an intern and I started to become a little bit curious as to what she was doing. So I started asking questions and talking to her. And she informed me that she was working on her master's at the University of Tennessee as a social worker. Well, prior to me meeting her, I talked to a counselor who happened to have her master's in psychology. She's an LPC. And I was telling her how I wanted to become an LPC. I thought that would be a good thing because I had recently researched about it. And she told me no. I was like, how could you possibly be an LPC and then tell me not to become one as well? I mean, I was well on my way. I just needed to get into a master's program. She said, let me tell you something. Social workers have it way better than we do as LPCs. Social workers are able to do more with their degree and their background and their expertise than we are as LPCs. So I was like, wow, that was kind of strange, but interesting. Interesting enough that I started to do a little bit of research. And I was like, well, maybe maybe that could work out. I don't know. The only thing I've ever heard about social workers was that they took children out of homes. And I did not want to be that type of social worker. And so, a couple of days did go by after that conversation that still stays in my head till this day. Let's fast track back to the conversation that I had with the social worker intern. She encouraged me so greatly. She gave me a wealth of information about the experience of the program, about what her intentions were as a social worker, and it just shed light to something that I had not a clue about. So, after the conversation, I really began to take the field a little bit more serious. And she encouraged me, go on the website and apply for school. And I was like, you know what? I think I might do that. So I went home and checked out the web page and looked at the application and was just like, I think this is something I could tackle and do. Fun part was it was due within 2 weeks. Now, mind you, when you're applying for graduate school, usually you are always, and really in any school, you're always encouraged to start applying in the fall. We're talking about late April, late March, maybe the beginning of April. for when this application was due. But I decided to step out on faith, something that I was starting to do more of in my young adult life. And I stepped out on faith and I applied. I did what I needed to do. I didn't really feel like I went and was overthinking about the process. I just did it. I really truly did. And so the application was due around, I believe it was April. And then I just kind of forgot about it. I allowed life to really just start to happen for me because I was focused on my career choices at that time as well. And where I was at that moment, I was pretty satisfied, but I knew within the company I could move up and do something else and gain more experience. So I really didn't bother about the application, but this one particular beautiful June day, I'll never forget. I went to my mailbox at my apartment complex and saw that letter, and it had this lovely orange, which is one of my favorite colors, orange emblem on it, logo, University of Tennessee. And I thought, well, this is pretty thin. I'm probably not in the school. I probably didn't get in. Opened that wonderful letter and it said congratulations, and I just could not. I was floored. I was so shocked that I got into school, knowing that previously trying to get into school for school psychology just did not work out for me. But I finally got into a school, into a program that I just started to just gather this love for. Like, I really was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and this is what God had planned for me. And so I was accepted, and I completed the program in 2 years, and it was just, oh wow, when I tell you that I put in some serious grind, um, being that I was young, on my own, working full time, in school full time, as well as completing an internship full time, it was an experience that I hold near and dear to my heart. There were some challenges. I tell you, when I was studying for my comprehensive examination, I cried every word that I read. I was crying, and I had never done that before in my life. But that was something that I really truly wanted. I wanted to graduate. I wanted to obtain this degree. I wanted to move forward in my career, establish myself within this sector of social work. And when I graduated, it was just the best feeling. It was like, wow. But I also knew I wasn't really finished with school. Stay tuned because in some upcoming episodes, I'm going to tell you about some of the new ventures that I'm getting ready to experience. So stay tuned.